Our top story today, President Trump is back at the White House after a nearly week-long trip to Europe. But the fallout from his comments during a press conference with Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to continue. In a tweet, President Trump responded to critics of his approach to Moscow, writing, quote, "A productive dialogue is not only good for the United States and good for Russia, but it's good for the world." Montana's top lawmakers are also questioning statements the president made during the summit. Senator Steve Daines said, quote, "I have the highest confidence in the men and women in our intelligence communities and their conclusive evidence regarding Russia's deliberate efforts to interfere in our elections. Russia is our adversary and must be held accountable for its aggressions in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and around the world." Montana Senior Senator Jon Tester also weighing in, saying America's top law enforcement and intelligence agencies agree that Russia is a hostile nation that has targeted America, threatened our democracy, and undermined our national security. Our country must hold Putin accountable, not hold his hand. And Congressman Greg Gianforte says Russia has promoted instability throughout the world. He says Russia is not our ally. American intelligence agencies have been clear. Russia has interfered and continues to interfere in our elections, and we must defend ourselves and counteract whatever they do, as President Trump promised in March. Back here in Billings, the woman found dead in a ditch over the weekend has been identified. Yellowstone County Coroner Cliff Mahoney says 59-year-old Jackie Sharonbo Mestis likely died from a medical condition and or exposure to the elements. Her body was found on Saturday near Bowman Drive. Her death is under investigation, but Mahoney says no foul play is suspected. The future of Billings Logan International Airport was in the spotlight during last night's City Council meeting. The main focus is to update the airport. The project is currently in the first of 3 phases, the design phase. The current design isn't easy to move through when it gets busy at the airport because it's designed as more of a pod structure. The goal is to design the expansion and add 3 more gates, making the total 8. Construction will begin in the deli area and expanding the west side of the airport, allowing for larger concessions.
One of the things people like to do is be able to see where their gate is. So our new concept's more open so that you can be at the concession, still see your gate, and then when they start boarding, then you know, and that's when you finish that beer and get down to the gate. So we'll see if the contractor thinks it's workable, and then once that end is built, we'll move everybody over there. It's kind of like a Chinese fire drill. And then we'll build this end. Pretty exciting deal. I think it's going to be a great add to the city of Billings. People, you know, we serve a large regional area, all of eastern Montana, northern Wyoming, and then, you know, the Billings population. And, you know, people come here, they want, what we're truly trying to do with this new piece is to make it so when they come here, they know where they are at in Billings.
The design phase is expected to go until next summer. The main construction would begin at that point and possibly wrap up by 2021. Elsewhere, the Indian Relay Races Championship of Champions won't be returning to Billings this year. The Horse Nation's Relay Council President Calvin Ghostbear says the Metro Park track is no longer a viable location for the races. After months of searching, the races found a new home in Walla Walla, Washington. The dates for this year's Championship of Champions is now set for September 21st through the 23rd. We have more details and information on the Vice President Mike Pence's visit to Billings next week. The event will take place Tuesday, July 24th at 9:30 in the morning at the Montana Pavilion at Metro Park. Doors are slated to open at 7:30 a.m. Pence will be joined by Senate candidate Matt Rosendale to rally in support of the recently passed tax cuts. The conservative group America First Policies is sponsoring the event and is in charge of tickets. Those wanting to attend must register and request tickets at americafirstpolicies.org. The Vice President will also host a private fundraiser for Rosendale later on Tuesday. It was a year ago this week the Lolo Peak fire started near Missoula when lightning struck and continued to burn for months. The wildfire burned about 54,000 acres and took the life of one firefighter when he was hit by a falling tree. More than 3,000 people were evacuated at some point during the Lolo Peak fire. It wasn't until September 24th that firefighters were able to halt the flames. The fire ended up with a nearly $35 million price tag. Billings School District 2 welcomed its new superintendent to the job. Greg Upham took his seat at last night's school board meeting for the first time. Upham comes to Billings from the Helena School District, where he served as assistant superintendent. He replaces Superintendent Harry Bauk, who retired after 6 years in Billings. Q2 will talk with Superintendent Upham later today to hear his thoughts and goals for the Billings School District.